All right, so this is a message for the gifted and creative empaths out there who are hard at work on your authentic integration. So, we often hear that there's a higher purpose to the challenges that we're going through in our life. And now there's all kinds of challenges that we go through, but specifically for gifted empaths, a common one involves a lack of clarity as well as resistance to stepping into a more integrated and powerful version of ourselves. Why? Well, because in large part, we are extremely sensitive to the real and potential criticisms and judgments of others. Now, this is not intrinsically a weakness. It's an effect of our greater capacity for empathy and for seeing and caring about the perspectives of others, which we can ultimately, when we know them well, we internalize them. And so our problem is that we internalize these views and mindsets and, what others might say or think, and we begin to anticipate it. And then we lose alignment with our own intuition and personal compass that guides us through our own authentic development and evolution. So let me know if you recognize yourself in any of these examples of real and anticipated criticism, because this is exactly what we need to stop losing so much of our energy to. So maybe you start to downward spiral after a comment that one of your parents makes. Or maybe you hesitate to reach out to someone that you respect or care about because of your fears or anticipations of potential rejection. Or maybe you feel heightened anxiety once you sense that the dynamic of a situation or an individual has changed. Or you've ever started to dissociate from your own path once you because you're effectively unconsciously chasing the approval or attention of someone. Or maybe you've had heartbreaking experiences of being ghosted or blocked by someone that you cared about. Or you've been dealing with actual insults or code speak that actually insults some part of who you are or what you desire. And so I'll share with you a few of the gems that I've received over the years. Remember now, these aren't just any types of insults, but this is the kind of stuff that we might specifically hear because of our giftedness or because of our empathy. And again, for neurotypicals, they might brush this off like water off their back or not even register it because of some degree of dissociation they have. The problem or the gift with our empathy is that we don't dissociate, so we receive. Okay, so listen to some of these. So from some of my coworkers once, I would hear or overhear, oh, she's a smart girl, but, or also behind my back at one point was, she thinks she's so smart. And from a former friend, it was, you're too smart for your own good. Now, admittedly, I know that at the time with her style, it was meant as a compliment, but like over time, it just didn't land that way with me. And I've also heard, you're too sensitive and you're not sensitive enough from the same person about, things that they thought that I should be caring about. And then going back even further into undergrad, I had some classmates who definitely didn't make me feel very welcome as a friend when they basically like picked out something that I did, which in their eyes seemed eccentric. And then they just kind of like piled on me about like being weird and like, that's so weird. And like, really dismissive. So there's many versions of all of this. And again, from a neurotypical point of view, like none of this like sounds like there isn't any gravity here. Like what's there to be serious about? But again, because we receive everything so deeply, it does have an impact. And especially like if you're in an impressionable period. And so what begins to happen is that we begin to internalize this sense of like ostracization for some aspect that makes us different. And then maybe we try to like overcompensate by earning the approval or admiration of others who might be more like us or more predisposed to liking us in our eyes. And then we may begin to fear their potential criticism or judgment or rejection. And in this way, it can really become a cycle until we get like clear and conscious enough on like what exactly our role is so that we can fully break from it. So, what I'm doing here is inviting anyone who resonates with this to join a free upcoming webinar that I'm hosting on this very issue and specifically aimed at helping you neutralize and ultimately dissolve the hypersensitivity to what others might be thinking or saying. Now, again, this isn't going to resonate with neurotypical people because this could sound like vanity, like, oh, I just care what other people think of me. Like, no, it's not. This is like an issue with empathy because we do care about the perspectives of others from that deep empathic place. And it ends up affecting our own alignment. And ultimately, the reason we really need to work on this and get super clear on what's happening is because we're actually losing a lot of energy in microdoses to the sorts of like hesitation and confusion that can arise because we are more or less consciously trying to avoid being judged poorly in someone's eyes because of the way it affects us. That's what it comes down to. But you can get to a place where you've cultivated such self interest and self validation that none of what anyone thinks or says is going to matter in that way that it pulls you out of alignment. Again, because we're empathic, we're always going to care, but this is more about like having an internally derived sense of a boundary where others' opinions and actions or reactions don't affect you in that detrimental way. And so I can help you get clearer on what a healthy boundary in this area can look and feel like for you, as well as then you're going to have more energy back for directing towards your own growth and purpose. You won't be losing these microdoses every time you feel you have to um, anticipate or negotiate around what someone might think or say or how they might react or just maybe not even respond at all. Like I can't tell you how much time I lost personally in writing emails to like professors or a supervisor. It was just so dysfunctional. Like I had so much anxiety around this. I had anxiety over writing the email, over like the words I was choosing. I had anxiety sending it. I had anxiety waiting for a reply. I had anxiety reading their reply and then trying to respond to it. And so I'm sure that you've got your own examples of something that's like that for you. And so what we'll do in this webinar is I'm going to take you through like 3 steps on what's going to be like a journey of realignment with your own self-interest. Again, this is for empaths. This isn't like narcissistic self-interest. And validating a self-validation of your own authenticity so that you'll really be able to like move past this hypersensitivity or hyper anxiety on what others might be thinking or saying. And so the way this will work is that first we will work to move your own sense of self-interest and validation back inside you, which is where the source of it really belongs. And then second, we're going to get you back in touch with your own internal compass, which means your own sense of intuition over what your next steps need to be and even like what you're actually truly desiring. And third, this is all to help you elucidate your next highest path and ultimately reconnect you with a sense of your higher purpose or higher meaning. And even if you don't want to engage with the sense of purpose for whatever reason, this is basically just like the higher value that you want to pursue for your life. It's about the specific way in which you'd like to make an impact and contribute to others. So, part of the reason that things can feel so difficult and take so much longer for us as gifted empaths is the fact that we both feel more deeply and think more deeply. We're literally doing like double the processing with extra layers of complexity, which is not a bad thing. We're actually here to help integrate that. And right, again, so we are here to literally conduct these higher levels of integration, and that's why it feels so difficult. So, this is literally about making the connections that are not happening anywhere else yet. Got that? We're here to embody this process, and higher levels of integration are also going to dissolve existing concepts and frameworks, which is again also part of why it feels so difficult and can attract criticism and judgment. So, you guys, if there's one thing that I'm here to help other people with in this life, it's this. I've been through it. I know the language, I know the landscape, I know the headwinds, I know the hesitations, and I will advocate for you where no one else can. So it doesn't actually have to be very complicated. Like, you just need to be in touch with someone who gets it and you resonate with their language. And, personally, I can say I can help you like as little or as much as you need. So if this resonates with you, I've got spaces open in my upcoming free webinar, and we're going to cover this in a lot more detail. And we're going to start you on your next steps in unlocking more clarity and like getting yourself back on that path of your initial alignment. So leave a comment below with any questions you might have, or if you're ready, you can just join through the email in the link that I'll provide. And, I look forward to connecting with you and talking further about this with you. So, once you're ready, we'll talk. Okay. See you soon.